All right. We are live. Waiting on Cody to get in here, but wait for some people to set foot in here. Share screen. There it is. Hey, welcome in everybody that's coming in. We are getting ready to start live. I'm kind of hoping Cody will join us soon. Send him the invite. I'm going to put the invite in the link below. Let's see here. Give it a few moments. Here we go. Bam. All right, welcome in everybody. Another segment of the Wednesday night chat. Started a little late today. Normally we try to start this at 6:30, but Ben just got back from on the road doing things for my moving company. So been out there giving out estimates, talking to clients, working business. So it's a little bit of a long day. I'm waiting for Cody to get on. He was in the middle of something at the moment. But we got not really that much to talk about. We're just going to talk about how the start business, how I'll go over how I started my business, how I grew the channel, how I did a lot. So not just a channel, but how I grew my businesses, how I invest, how I overcame some obstacles to starting my businesses. And, this is an open forum, guys. So, we do it free. It's all free. So if you want to ask your questions, if you had a business in mind that you wanted to start, you can always um, comment below, or if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, you can certainly comment there as well, and or join on the chat. I put the link to join the live stream in there, so you can go ahead and chat away, and or you can come on live and ask your questions. There really are no dumb answers to starting a business, and you really need to know as much information as you possibly can. But thank you guys for coming in. If I can get some likes, get some shares, it would really help out. Get to help our channel grow. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube, as well as we're on TikTok. So if you could like and subscribe, that really helps. If you got any questions, certainly join live.
Hello.
Hello
How you
there.
doing?
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Wednesday night chat with us. We're talking about starting businesses and growing business, or if you had any questions about anything financial.
Sure. Okay. I don't know how I got in here.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, no
Awesome.
problem. We appreciate all the support. If you do have a question, feel free to ask away. We are live on all channels, so it is live. If you don't want to be live, you certainly just comment your question, and I can answer it as best I can for you. Or if you want to do it more privately, go to Facebook on Simply Investing on Facebook and message us there, and we can answer your question if it more private if you'd like.
I think I'd rather go private and just listen what you have to say.
Okay, well, hey, thanks. No problem. I don't know
I
how
just
that.
followed this so I could see you and your. You're gonna be live though, right?
Yep, we're live.
All right, then I'll get on your live and then I'll see what you have to say.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Welcome.
Let's see here. There we go. Yes, yeah. Do you, Alina? Do I invest in Vanguard? If you're referring to the Vanguard Financial, they're one of the largest pension fund management companies, as well as one of the largest brokerage firms in the world. I think they have 1.3 trillion. No, I'm sorry. I think they have closer to $2 trillion worth of assets that they manage. They definitely have some great ETFs, some definitely good some accounts that can guaranteed low risk, decent return, but it's guaranteed return for a long period of time. So if you're looking for investment where you have to do little activity, all you want to do is just check your monthly statements or yearly statements, then Vanguard is definitely a good place to put your money into. They have a lot of options, and they can design a custom portfolio. Where do you want to go, ultra conservative, or do you want to go more risky? Depending on where you are in your life, like if you're in your later years, you're kind of your golden years of your career, you don't really want to go too risky because you're about ready to cash out in the next 10 years. So you kind of want to go true and steady with low risk gains, very steady assets that will give you a steady return over years. A lot of what they do is really they manage pension fund money, which needs to be there. So there's a lot of low risk in there. But they do an excellent job of plotting your financial future and giving you a plan of where you want to be. So if you tell them, hey, this is where I want to be when I'm 50, then they can show you what it's going to take for you from now until you're 50 to get to that goal. I hope I answered that question for you. Because I don't really put a lot in Vanguard. I put myself in my non-managed money, the money I don't manage myself. I put into Betterment and to a Northwest Pacific Mutual. So they manage a fund for me, and then I have Betterment does it has an algorithmic based trading platform. So basically, it's a bot that does micro trades constantly all day 24/7. So that manages the money, and it does a very good job. They actually get about 2 to 3% more profit on your portfolio than any other brokerage firm out there, and there's very low risk involved. And once again, you can scale your portfolio either low risk, medium risk, moderate, high, whichever you'd like. How much money do you have? That's a tough question because a lot of it is tied up in investments and everything. I do invest in crypto. I invest in stocks, but I run a moving company. I own a detailing company. I just invested with a guy, with another colleague into one of the guys that my colleague met to start a construction company. So I kind of gave the seed capital to that. So there's no really value on that. I do invest in Ripple and Uphold through Link2. If you are close to being an accredited investor, it's definitely a good thing to look into. But you have to be an accredited investor, which means you have to have a net worth. Sometimes most common of 1 million or more after your home. But if some places like Link2, sometimes they want you to have like 3 million after your home. It really depends because each bank kind of there's no set thing for an accredited investor. It's just kind of whatever the bank or whom you're dealing with determines what you are, and you have to submit a lot of paperwork for that. So really, like I could say I have a net worth, but I did not. I can't really say because if I sold I think my valuation of my moving company at my accountant did for taxes purposes in Arkansas, it was close to. We valued it at the end of the year at about 12.1 million. If I was to sell it, but that might not be what I can sell it for. It depends on the economy. But I've also since then I built my logistics side of the business. I'm buying like 40 trailers and working with another guy starting up a logistics business that's going to network with my moving side business, and and then it's going to help the final mile. So I'm hoping to be a billionaire because I'm trying to get a Bugatti. But in order to get a Bugatti, you got to have a shit ton of money, and you kind of got to pitch to them. So, but I'm well on my way. It's been a long journey, but a lot of this has been like really 10 years in the making because I started this journey when I was 30 and I'm 39 and I'm about ready to crack through. Um, Eleni, I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. Shall how do you how do you save to start your first business? Well, for me, I went to let's see, how do I put this? I did a lot of corporate America jobs. So when I got out of college, um I was working at a convenience store. I got up to a general manager there, which if you're at a gas station, you made six figures, and that was like early 2000s. Then I went to work for Bank of America, and then I went to work for Robert Shaw Capital, and was a trader and a fund manager for them for a little bit. Then 2009, I went to go back to retail, and I went to Radio Shack. I was a district manager. Then I was a regional manager. Then I was area manager, and then I was in furniture, which I was a store manager at. And I've those jobs were very sales oriented. So the more money my territory made, the more you had. Yeah, rest in peace, Radio Shack. But Radio Shack was like the second worst company in America to work for. So if you could survive in Radio Shack, you could survive anywhere because that was a rough environment. But I had to learn how to make a profit off of low profit items, and that's the only way you're ever really gonna make it there. But when I was a area manager. Well, I should say when I was a regional manager there, and they were needing a lot of people, but I was ranked in the top 5% of that company, and I always made my year end bonuses. I always made that, so I was saving that. And once I had about $1.5 million in a in an investment account, and then I had about 500,000 in my 401k after about 18 years of saving and everything. That's when I decided to start my moving company. And I could tell you right now, I made a lot of mistakes, made a ton of mistakes. I burned through a lot of my cash, made the wrong decisions, kind of rented from the wrong people, kind of did everything right. And I didn't have everything in place right. And now I hope I've learned from my mistakes, got everything in place, got the right things in. But it's like 2 years ago, I had employee theft of time totaling like $240,000. I've had people steal tools. I had people damage trucks. I've had people damage people's houses that I had to pay for. I had a lot of crazy things happen, and just overcame it. Um, as far as Radio Shack goes, it was a good learning place. When I started there, you could make a lot of money just as a salesperson. There was a guy who was just a assistant manager, and he made like $150,000 a year because back then it was like the BlackBerry was just coming out and coming around and really getting popular like 2009, 2010. And a lot of people don't know, but back then, like a new contract for a cell phone, because not many people had smartphones. So if you upgraded to either a BlackBerry or iPhone, you were getting like $80 just for the phone in spiff. And spiff is what we call like extra cash commissions. Like it was just like an extra commission that you got for selling that. And wireless companies always gave spiff. And then if you got the on the highest, like unlimited plans and everything, the ring credits were outstanding. So you got volume commission on your ring credits and all that stuff. So it was very easy to make a $3,000 check in a week because you were new lines were happening every time. And whenever someone came in that their contract was up in 2 years, and we were right at the end of the contract, we would switch them over to like another provider and get a new activation ring credit. So you can make a fortune doing that. Um, and then when I worked in furniture, I kind of got an idea for logistics because I was a receiving manager, and then I became a sales manager, and I learned a lot about trucking, receiving, and everything, and deliveries, and managing a warehouse and delivery team. So then I took that and started the moving company, and it's been wildly successful since. Not so the first 2 years. I definitely starved. Like I said earlier on this morning stream, when I started this business, I was definitely close to 500 pounds, maybe 600. I say because the scale stopped at 490 at the DOT office. So that's when I decided I really got to lose the weight. So now I'm down to 270, but I got a long way to go. Still quite a bit to do it. But what helped is that I was walking everywhere, and that first 2 years you're going to run out of cash, and you're going to run out of cash, and you're going to quickly run out of of money. So then you got to make sure that you have a way to feed yourself, because that 2 years was rough. Um, Shout out to Eleni. Why did I choose logistics? Because it seems to be a steady industry. It doesn't really get too affected by recessions or swings in the economy. People always need to ship goods. People are always moving, especially nowadays. A lot of us, we don't have a lot of friends and family anymore. So now we're relying on our partner. We were relying on businesses, because like in my parents' day, they would just call. They go to their church, they call their friends, their family. About 15 people would show up, and they'd move you out of your house and move you into your new house. And that's how the community usually did it. But now people people don't know as many people as my parents did. And you have to it's sometimes it's just yourself. Sometimes you moved for a job and you're by yourself out in like New York City or Chicago, so you're always hiring movers. So looked at the industry, and about 80%, I'd say 85% of the moving industry doesn't treat the customer very well. So I learned that I could just give a little bit better white glove service, and we took off from there. But I mainly focused on deliveries, and logistics, because furniture needs to be shipped, dry goods need to be shipped, construction materials need to be shipped, and that's what I did. And we were just running box trucks, and then we ran trailers, and then we just grew and grew and grew, and now we operate in 7 cities. So we're in Northwest Arkansas, Little Rock, St. Louis, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Tulsa, and we're getting ready to open up in Dallas soon. So it's been a wild ride, but the more we keep growing, the more we see that there's just not enough people in this industry. Not to say that it's overcrowded, but it is highly licensed and regulated. So it's hard on people because you have to be on the road, and not a lot of people want to spend 3, 4, or sometimes 5 months out on the road, driving all over the country delivering product, and you never see your family. So most people, you make a lot of money, but you don't get to see your family. Have you thought about adding Southern California? Shout out to Muslim Mystic. I thought about California, but when we looked into the regulations, especially in the trucking and moving industry, it's just too much. And now that we're required to get, and I'm not saying anything bad about EV trucks, however, or electric vehicles, but the electric trucks just don't have the heavy haul capability, and you can't get through the Rockies, and you need diesel to transport that stuff. But we do a lot of perishable goods logistics, because we ship avocados and pecans from California and out, and it's nonstop. We can't get. I would say they probably need about an extra 300,000 drivers for there, because a lot of it's perishing. But California is really strict on diesel. You need diesel permits. You need all these other things. The taxes are high. Whereas if I stay in Texas, Kansas, Missouri, my taxes are nominal for here. And in the massive growth phase, I can't afford to pay high taxes on massive growth. I have to go into California when the growing pains stop, and then I can think about getting into California. But as far as business wise, California still is a good opportunity if you can play it right, because the more people you have in an area, the more likely the chance you are to have success. Like, you can't go into a county in a state that has maybe 100,000 people over like a 500 square mile radius. You're not going to have enough business. But if you're in an area where it's growing rapidly, you got at least a million populace, you got good economics in both the state and the local area, you probably can survive in a healthy business. I'm not The only thing I could consider going into California would be for restaurants, service, and financial. Um, logistics and everything, it's needed because there is a major port there. But it's just unless if you're not an established player in the industry, it's very hard to get into California. Plus the licensing, the taxes. I mean, we have to pay a value assessment tax on the business in California, as well as most states. They have that. At what point in your career will you start prioritizing your health? I already did. Actually, we all don't start. I was in shape when I was in college, and when I got out of college, it wasn't until I went to Radio Shack and all that stress, and it was a very sedentary job, and it just kind of piled up on me. But I'm down 300 pounds in 3 years, so 3.5 years. So you tell me how well I'm doing. So, but if you are like me and you're already big and you're starting a business, you got to get your wallet as fat as you before you can start paying that stuff off. Because no matter what they say, you're getting a healthy start is free. However, the gym membership, all that stuff. The only reason why I lost the last 100 pounds in in the net in like 8 months was because I can now afford to spend $3,000 a month on a boxing trainer, $1,000 a month on a nutritionist. I can spend it all. But I do say this: if you're trying to do it for free, that takes an ultimate level of discipline because a lot of us, when we do it for free, it's easy to give up. When I'm paying a shit ton of money to do it, I'm waking my fat ass up at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure I follow the regiment that I paid for. So I always recommend if you are big like when I started, get your wallet as fat as you are before you start trying to thin your body out. Let the fitness bucket be one of the last things you get in. Exactly. Shout out to Muslim Mystic. The more skin you have in the game, the more you are going to be committed to it. Um, but back to what I was saying, it's like if if you're a young guy and you're already in decent in shape and everything and you got everything right to begin with, maintain but work on your finance bucket. That's the hardest bucket, working on your money bucket, because money does not happen overnight. Your first million is going to be the hardest thing you'll ever obtain. But once you get it, and most people get their first million within 15 years in their career. So if you start at 20, you won't see it till you're 35. And might not even be a liquid million. So it might just be a million in net worth, in assets and everything. So if that's the case, then you got to understand, get that money train right, get that money bucket right. Then you can get the business and the education bucket right, and then you can get your fitness bucket right. And trust me, the fitness bucket will just come along because if you're disciplined enough to manage your money, you'll be disciplined enough to get everything else right. But I have seen tens of thousands of guys be disciplined in the fitness bucket, but it doesn't transfer over to everything. Um, Shout out to Eleni. Thank you for your comment there. What's the worst investment mistake I ever made? My worst investment, which cost me quite a bit of money, well into almost 7 figures, was I invested into mining in 2012 and to gold mining. So I invested into a company that was big into gold mining. And then, of course, like 2 years later, it like a lot of the surveys didn't pan out the way they did. They lost a lot of profit, and my stock went to basically just toilet paper. So that was my biggest investment. I think it was like a total loss of that year. I think it was like close to $500,000, which really hurt at the time. But I had to work really hard and pick other things to make it back. I mean, even writing off the loss on taxes, it didn't cover it. But that was probably my biggest mistake. I'd say my second biggest mistake in business was my first business I started, which was really just a trading card supplier for like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh and sports cards. I was just like a regional supplier. We were trying to supply like the boxes, the crates, and all that stuff. And of course, what happened is I had two other partners in the deal. One slept with the other's wife. The other one got in a fight with the other one, and then they just separated to the other ends. And I got left with all the inventory and no money. So that's how that happened. Shout out to you, Triple Money. If you're only 19, you got 400K liquid, but 250 pounds. I mean, 250 pounds is not a lot, especially if you're a tall guy. Um, you just calorie deficit, and I guess, but I'm not a fitness guy. I can only tell you what I do. I just switch on my diet. I get very bored easily, so I switch from liquid diet to carnivore diet, keto diet, and then back to intermittent fasting. That usually works the best and helps me maintain a steady loss of weight. Um,
I couldn't do it. I didn't have shit else to do. What is this? Hi, what's going on, buddy? Got your
hey,
brother, cousin?
what's up? How are you doing? Just You're live on our channel, chatting.
By chance?
What?
My bad. What'd you say? I didn't mean to cut you.
No worries. You're live right now across 7 platforms. What you want to talk about? We're talking about business.
7 platforms.
Yeah.
Let's run it up. Shit. We can talk about saving the seals. How do you feel about that?
Saving the seals with seals.
Fuck plastic. Yeah, save the seals.
All right. Why?
Plastic.
That's all
Save,
you.
right?
Hey, if you want to save them, you can go ahead, but you're gonna need some money to do it.
Now, show them. Show them. Show them. Show them. Show the people live on 7 platforms. Show the people. Fuck plastic. Fuck.
Yep. Getting into it seems shout out to Muslim Mystic. It seems the ones that get it quick, that energy destroys them. Yeah, that's kind of true. I've seen in business or in finances, you get a quick amount. You can see it looking at athletes that they do that. They get that. It's called sudden wealth syndrome, where they get a lot of money, they burn it off, they sell it off, and or they just rapidly spend it and get rid of it. It's just something that just happens, unfortunately, and it's kind of comes back to our psyche. Some people think that they don't deserve it, so they get rid of it. Like it starts out with helping family. You buy your parents' house, you buy your friend's house, you buy your cousin's house. All of a sudden, you're getting cars and stuff like that. But it also happens in business. You sometimes can hit it big quickly, and then you get comfortable with the income and think it's going to last forever, instead of saying, "Oh my God, it's not going to last that long. Maybe I need to save and prepare and settle with the growing pains," because the business just doesn't go up at a 45-degree angle. It really just goes up and down, and can go in an upward trajectory or a downward trajectory. But 99.9 forever percent of businesses are in a downward trending graph, because most people can't seem to make a business get to a profitable region. So it's like 99% of businesses fail in the first year. Then of those that succeed, 99% fail in the next year. Then by the time you're in year 5, almost 100%, damn near 100% of businesses that started are gone. And so I can attest to that. My competitors, every year I see 5 or 6 of them that started either at the same time as me, or like the last 2 years are gone. And they come in, they get quick success, and then they peter out afterwards. And it's just sometimes people think the money is going to be around forever, and it doesn't last. It doesn't last forever. What about family and friends? Did you have to sacrifice a lot? Did you stop talking to them when I started? Yeah, shout out to you, Muslim Mystic. Let's let's just put it this way: when I started a business, your first haters are going to be your family and your friends, especially when you're starting a business and you're growing and you're trying to do everything. You're sacrificing. Like you when if you're going to succeed at any business, you got to really go monk mode, because you can't talk to nobody unless if it's about business. You got to keep your head on the goal, head on the grind, and just keep going, because people are people are going to tell you can't succeed. They're not really going to pay attention to you, and they just kind of write you off at that point. Now, when you do succeed and you start changing, they're going to do two things. They're either going to they're either going to grow in volume. I'm sorry. They're going to grow in your appreciation for what you do, which you usually be your direct family, like your parents, your brothers and sisters. But like your extended family will just, "Oh well, you can afford it, you should be the one paying." Sometimes a lot of your friends will start coming to you with money problems and debt problems, and unfortunately That's just the way human nature is. It's like, well, you have the money, you should help me. And sometimes it depends on how hard you sacrifice to get it. Um, it's like I know a lot of self-made millionaires that just don't want to give away their wealth, and that's okay. It's up to you to determine what level you're willing to give. I usually just write it off. I usually just count anything I give to family as a gift, and if they pay me back, great. If not, they don't have to. I don't get upset if I don't get paid back. I do get saying a lot. Oh, because like my aunt notoriously said one time that she could retire off of me, but my mom was did well for herself, well better than most people could, especially since she started from the lowest of economic groups in America. She definitely made her own way, but that's just how people perceive it. It's like, oh, well, I'd be debt free if I was making the money like you, but I'm really not debt free. I have a crap ton of debt, but the difference is I'm just using it differently than a lot of people do. Some people, you are how should I put it? It's like you get debt for your house, your car, consumer goods shopping, and like vacations and everything. And unfortunately, those aren't the things you want to do debt for. Those are the things you really want to do cash for, except for a car or a house. But I use debt to get capital equipment for my business. All right. So if I get $2.5 million in debt for some trucks, right? I can then write that debt off because I'm buying capital equipment for my business. So all I'm really paying is just the interest. And I'm getting the principal amount back on my debt, off of my taxes as a write off. Not a lot of people understand that, and instead you want to make sure you use debt smartly and wisely and make sure that the debt is earning you more than it costs to service the debt. And unfortunately, people don't do that. And then, like I said, there's always going to get handouts, especially if you're a young guy and you're dating. I can tell you one thing, that it's like you start having success. You start having sex. Oh yeah, yeah. I got catch up stain. It is what it is. This is old top. They say you drive in a truck and it just happens. But thanks for that shout out. I do have to wash this hoodie. It's been a while. Um, do you often borrow against your portfolio? I borrow against it only in the beginning to get capital assets, but ever since then I don't borrow against my portfolio. I don't do any leverage trading. I tried early on in my life, like around 25, but it never works out the way that I try to work it out. It sucks because a lot of times you lose and you get liquidated out, because you gotta remember, when you do business loans and you're borrowing against your assets, it's not like a traditional loan that you guys are used to with your car or mortgage. Those loans can be called, and they could just say, "Hey, we don't think the capitalization is great for you. We would like our money back today by 5 o'clock." So you got to be prepared for that. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. Um, Muslim Mystic, do you live vicariously through your corporations? No, but I will say this: if you're building a business, you're going to start using it to pay your bills. Like, that's just how it was in the beginning for me. Like, my grocery bills, my rent was just paid through it. But I tried to make sure everything was cheap and within a budget. Um, but once your company is successful, a lot of it you should start paying yourself because you took the large risk for it. But you should also start putting, money back into the business. So half of my profit every year gets cut right out and into a reserve account for the business, whether for reinvesting or just for, oh crap, the economy went bad and I can pay my guys their wage. Because once you have a business and you're successful and you have a lot of people working for you, you are now really responsible for everybody working for you. And I have about 200 people working for me. And if I slow the gas, they suffer, and I can't do that. And I have to be a good steward of the corporations and the businesses I run. Otherwise, I put a lot of people back out on the street or they have to go find a job, they become very uncertain of their life and like, man, I rode with this company. I thought it was going to be great, but it went downhill. And but trust me, I see a lot of that when I go to networking events, when I go to business events, when I go to these places. I see a lot of people as soon as they hit $1 million in revenue, they're buying nice cars, they're putting payments on the business, and then like 2 or 3 years later, the business is gone, and all of a sudden, it's all of a sudden now they're trying to look for a handout or they're becoming a help me, like come help me please. How often do you go to personal development business events? Um, Actually, I don't really go to events per se. Sometimes I'm invited and I go to some, especially if it's about a topic I'm intrigued about. But really, I try to find people who are decades ahead of me in business, and I just sit down and learn from them. That's my personal development. I ask them, "How did you succeed? What you guys are doing? What was your worst time? What was the hardest time? How did you get through it? How did you get through this economic time? Were you worried? What did you have a game plan? How did you change? Things like that. What made you successful? What did you think that you did right? What did you think that you did wrong?" That's all the stuff that I added. But I do read a lot of books about business, about how other people's views. Exactly, the bearded dad, have a mentor. My mentor, unfortunately, he is no longer with us. He died. He passed away about 5 years ago. But he he was my mother's boss, and I actually got to start. My first job was being an errand boy for his corporate office. If you don't know what an errand boy is, it's basically you're there, you go get coffee, you go get people's lunch, you get dry cleaning, you pick up cars from the shop and bring them back to the office parking lot, things of that nature. But I got to sit in on meetings and learn from him. I got to ask questions because there's many a times where I was in that office and he was worth $150 million at the time, and he had a great set of knowledge, and he was always there late. So I would be the last one leaving at around 6 o'clock, and he would sometimes be there till 10. I got to ask him some questions. I got to probe his thoughts in his mind about how he got into business, how he started and everything. And I did that for a solid 2 years and took all the advice he gave me into my work. And then throughout my career, while he was like, I was calling him, talking about questions, scenarios like, should I get this promotion? What do you think is a good fit for me? Things like that. But having a mentor, especially if you're a young guy in your early 20s, is definitely going to help you to success. Muslim Mystic, were you ever in a position where you have an employee that is rising, so you let him go? Or I guess is absolutely. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. Like your goal when you're running a business shouldn't be to hinder people, but it should be to help them grow and established. Now, sometimes they could either be with you for a year or they could be with you 30 years. There's no telling, but they're on your bullet train to success. And if you can help them get to the next bracket, then hey, then you help them. Or if you can help them better their lives, there's been many people that came in through my businesses that were from pretty bad starts, and then all of a sudden they grew and grew and grew and grew, and before I knew it, like they paid off debts, they're going back to school, they took on other jobs. One of my best sales guys actually left to go start his own construction company in the area. He said he got enough money, paid off all his debts, fixed his credit, learned from watching me run and build a business, and he went to go start his construction company. And that was 5 months ago. And I wish him all the best and hope all his dreams come true. And my hope is that anyone that comes to work for me changes in some way, changes like if I can if they can look back and say, man, working for Sal really changed my life, then I did my job. And some of them, it only took 6 months. Some of them, they've been with me from the beginning. Some want to see it to the end. You don't know. But if they if there's a better opportunity for them at another company, then so be it. Let them go. I mean, you can't really buckle people down. Then they're going to get some type of resentment towards you. So I never want to do that. If they feel like a better opportunity, I mean, I had a great driver for me, and he went to go be a handyman for another company for a startup. And I was like, hey, if it's a better opportunity for you, and it really was. He had a newborn and two other young kids, and that was really the best option for him was to have a more in the area job because a lot of times he'd be waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning for a moving company to go out and not get back till 8, things like that. And that's hard, especially if you're a young father. It's hard. You don't want to be away from your kids. So I get it. But I want to help you. I want to help everyone build the skills for success, if that makes sense. No worries, Britt. Thanks for coming in. You're really not late because I started off late. I kind of got back in at 7 from running my moving company. But I hope I answered everyone's questions about business and investing so far. I'm just kind of going to ramble on here. Um, like I said, like I took a lot of licks in starting this business. It really sucked in the beginning. Like the first 2 years, had no money, had no food, losing a lot of weight just by not eating anything for several days and doing a moving company. So you can imagine, you're trying to bring stuff up to the fourth floor of an apartment and you haven't eaten in a couple days. You're going to start losing some weight. But I will say this: I would not trade this journey for the world, but if I were to do it again, I'd probably just go get a corporate job, go to sales. I mean, I get offers all the time for pretty good jobs, but I've been outside of the corporate world and I've been running my own business and having a sense of freedom that I can't go back. I can't go back to the corporate world. Like I want to have the ability to say I'm going in this direction and to hell with everything. I'm going to break through any barrier that I need. Uh, Shout out to Britt, one of our moderators. Marketing, definitely marketing. You can make a lot of money in marketing. I know some women and some former ex girlfriends that are in marketing in New York City, and they are killing it. Um, Bloody Pouch, what do you do? I own a moving company. I own a detailing company. I invest in other people's businesses. I also invest in crypto and stocks, and I invest in through Link2 into Ripple and Uphold. I also do a lot of property. I own a lot of real estate and property management. So I do a lot, although I'm nowhere near a big player in real estate as a lot of the guys here. It's a tough way to get into it. Um, it's tough getting into real estate. Period. But you got to have a really good credit score, and you got to hope that you buy your house in the right area. Like it's really hard to because if you buy the house in the wrong area, I had a couple people I knew buy rental properties for for long term rentals out in Las Vegas, and now they're getting their butts handed to them because they did APY mortgages, and the high interest rates now are eating them alive. Um, yeah, good job for you, Britt. Just got started in digital marketing. Love to work for a larger company one day, but right now it's just empowering business owners. Yeah, that's marketing is definitely a tool because one, you got to have the pulse on the zeitgeist of people. You got to know the trends before they even become trendy, and I can't do that. I do a lot of my own marketing, but I have someone else that does a really good job for marketing. As soon as I found that person, that was it. I passed that puck off, and that's another thing. Like for business, for if you're starting a business, you can't do it all yourself, but in the beginning, you will have to do it all yourself. You have to do it all yourself if you want to get started. But as soon as you find someone who is congruent where your business is going and what you want to do, um, then you'll be able to have that person take over something so you can focus on sales. And if you get a good salesperson, same thing. Because the eventuality is that you're going to be in the get to a point to where you're no longer going to be directly managing the business. So you're going to have to find someone to do that. Uh, Brad, That's good for you. If that works for you, buddy, hey, I'm not going to say anything, but if that's the what people are doing, then I might invest in you guys doing that. So, because I'm about money and any legal means necessary, legal, mind you, legal. We pay our taxes and we do what we got to do. But in like the first part, I got at least competent people in the moving company to get to the point to where I no longer had to be out in the trucks all the time. And then I got into the next point where I got into the next point of man, I need some water. I got into the next point where I was able to hire sales staff, and even though I'm really good at sales, I still have a sales staff because they they're going to hustle because they also have an investment. They also have goals they want to hit. Um, Bree, unfortunately, I have not heard of master resale rights. Um, haven't really heard of it yet, but you'd be surprised at how many businesses you haven't heard of, and eventually one cross your path, and you're like, man, that's really good. Why not haven't I heard of this before? I found a payment system like that, and it was just amazing that it was like that, and it worked well for my business and what I was trying to do, and I just took on to it, but I never heard about it until someone else that I declined for payment system said, well, really, that this will work for you. I don't sell it, but I recommend you go check them out. So, they were pretty good. Shout out to First Data because I didn't pick them because they're pretty rough on small businesses, but the the area manager, area rep said, "Hey, just go over here. They're a little bit better for what you're trying to do." So shout out to him. He actually helped us out. Um, I'd say the next hardest thing about the business would be the growth phase because the hardest part is getting the ground going, getting the customer base, getting your market share, solidifying the business. But the next hardest part is, oh my god, it's just going to be impossible to get to anticipate when you're going to grow. And for me, I wasn't really paying attention, so I just had a small staff at first. And then it was like out of nowhere, all of a sudden I realized that my sales team was overbooking, and it happened like right after March of 2020. It just started picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up. And then before I knew it, all of a sudden I had all these jobs and I needed more people and I was going through growing pains. And to avoid that, I said I always recommend people work in corporate America, work for other companies so you can get an idea of processes in place that are successful so you can implement similar processes in your business to help protect yourself and protect your money because that's how I had employee time theft through wages happen to me. Have you ever utilized the staffing company during the growth phase? I did not. What I did was I put out temporary positions. So I hired seasonal help basically, and they were saying they're on like a 3 month or 4 month contract. Luckily, with the moving industry, it's common practice. So like through May to September, they would just be there as help. They weren't guaranteed anything. Just kind of guarantee, hey, you're going to make this much amount per diem, and if you are a really good worker, we might think about keeping you on full time. If not, we'll see you next season. Staffing companies charge a lot. I did look into it. However, like People Ready, they were charging something like $55 an hour. And as you can imagine, a moving company, 10 hours, and they if you hire them, they will charge you for a minimum of 5 hours. So just be careful about that when you're hiring them. So make sure you're really utilizing that those staffing companies, but they are expensive. Now, I if you're in a different industry like construction, you have more revenue than a moving company does, so you can utilize a staffing company much better than I ever could because I only need you for like sometimes 2 hours for the day, and I can't pay 5 hours of labor for only 2 hours of work. So it just wasn't practical for me to do so. But I would say if it fits the business model and you have a high enough margin of profit that you can eat up a little bit on staffing companies to help you grow, it works. But make sure, because the one mistake I've seen people make, and I made it before when I worked at the furniture store, was make sure you ask for I think it's called tier one employees. They're the ones that have no criminal record. They're just people that are looking for extra money for like weekend jobs, things like that. Because they'll send you whomever. And sometimes you might get someone who was literally they just got out of prison the day before. And my industry, the moving industry, if I don't know your background, I can't send you into the house, especially since in the moving industry, 90% of my clients are really like the wives or single women that are in that house by themselves. So you got to be very careful who you hire and who you select for them to be in that situation. Even though now I've also learned a lot of my guys have body cameras. I have cameras all over the truck, front, back, and sides, and it's just crazy. But I do have body cameras for them. They wear on their lanyards, and I also have the one for the hats, so that way nothing can be misinterpreted. Everything is recorded, and everyone we have training session on this because there are like a lot of moving companies tend to hire like right off of Craigslist for day labor, and you just you're really sticking your hand in a black bag and not knowing what you're putting your hand into to pull out what you need. Um, Muslim Mystic, have you had any critical bad experiences with employees? I had one, and I never thought I would have to have this in 20 years of being an adult. I've never had this happen, but I'm not going to say names too. But as you know, moving companies, guys are very physically fit. They're in great shape. They are very attractive to women. And I used to have a cleaning company which I shut down at the beginning of this year, mainly because of this. Is that she would she would harass. She did not respect this woman. Did not respect anyone's boundaries, anyone's. And I told her numerous times that if you were a guy, you would be going straight to jail. And she really liked this one guy, found him very attractive, and somehow she was breaking into his car while he was gone out, left his car in our gated lot. She would break in, put a note on there, and she was relentless with it. I mean, every day, every day, every day. She and then after she left, I heard from guys that yeah, she had slept with a few of them, and she harassed the married men specifically. She didn't care about relationships. She just didn't care. She really just didn't care. And it was downright like, if I don't handle this as a sexual harassment case, I I will get sued. And I'm not willing to lose everything I have because some woman wants to act up like this. So I got my attorneys. We sat down in my office right over here. I don't usually go in that office, but there's an office. I don't know if you can see it. It's right over here, right by this mirror here. That's a one-way mirror, so that's the office. That office sat down in there, and we told her very bluntly what was going to happen. And luckily, she signed the papers and everything that the lawyers wanted, and she resigned quietly. And everything was resolved. So that was probably my scariest moment, and I wasn't really thinking about it because like most people, you don't think about it in that regard. But when you flip the situation, it's like, yes, I'm sure his wife would appreciate him not having that. And it was crazy. It was just a crazy experience. Furthermore, she had a total lack of disrespect towards company property too. Like, she banged up one of my service vans, and like, I can't turn it in at the end of the lease. I have to keep it now, so I have to eat another $10,000 on it. So I was a little upset, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to try and pursue someone down that doesn't have the money to pay me back, like the $5,000-6,000 to fix it. So I'm not going to really pursue it. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. And in the scheme of things, it's less than tenth of a percent that it's less than 10 a tenth of a percent that I'd be chasing of my monthly revenue for the business. So I just let it go. Unfortunately, I had to close down the cleaning department, but wasn't ideal, but it was what it was, and it was growing pains. Oops. Um, and shout out to Britt, the moderator. Thank you for your kind messages. And yeah, sometimes women do need to know to make sure they really fully vet moving companies, because if you are a single woman, I mean, I've heard some horror stories from women that have been my clients for moving, and I hate to say it because like not everybody is the worst case scenario. They're always outliers, but in the moving industry, they don't do a lot of background checks for a lot of people, and for a lot of businesses, they don't just do background checks on everybody, and they're expensive. Sometimes they could be up to $150 a pop, and you just let them through, and it's day labor. Not many people who are honest, hardworking, and don't have a criminal record, they have better opportunities than moving. Now, I do get a lot of workout junkies that they're great guys. They come in, they like to work out. When they see an apartment move, they're like, it's leg day. So, it kind of comes and goes with the territory. Yeah, yeah. Britt, didn't have any money, and she was really begging for that last check, and I just wrote it to her and let her go. Did I initially, Muslim Mystic, I initially invest in body cameras, or was it after a particular incident? Um, I doubled down on body cameras after that incident I just talked about, but it was after hearing some of the stories. So it was like 3 years into the business when I got some real money to get good equipment. I did the body cameras. It wasn't a fan favorite at first until one, it stopped clients from lying about my teams. I've had them lie about stealing money, prescription drugs, damaging property, and now that I have the whole 8 hours of service on footage from multiple perspectives, it kind of alleviates and solves any of that. But it helped me on my insurance side in reducing my monthly insurance payments for general liability, workers' comp, and everything, because they have body cameras now. So we can absolutely, with absolute certainty, discern whether it was an accident and should be covered, or if it wasn't, or did my staff actually do what the client is saying, and did they not? Now, I will say this though. I usually try to be calm, take both sides into account. I take statements from my workers, I take a statement from the client, and then I try to ascertain what happened. But I will say this: in the moving industry, it's not just the companies that try to scam clients. I can tell you right now, I have over $100,000 in unpaid invoices because clients are ruthless about not paying. Ruthless. I'm right now, can't really speak too much about it, but I got to go to court for one case because he lied and marked it as fraud on his bank card, and so I now have to fight the bank to get the money back. And that was one of the reasons. It was January, no, February of 20 of last year, and that was one of the big things why I really pushed to get all cameras everywhere. I got dash cameras, cameras in the box truck, like in the box part of it. I got cameras in the cab and outside the cab, and I got a camera on the back. And it's really a dual camera because it's on both corners, so it points out so I could see. And it actually saved me $7,000 because I got the license plate of someone that hit the moving truck while it was parked at a hotel. So I already got my money back on it, but I did not have any cameras in the beginning. And I really regret not having it from the very beginning because it would have solved a lot of arguments with clients and with staff. And you'd be surprised at how many people I caught on camera stealing our tools. So just putting that out there. But I could say in the beginning, not having it, I was replacing tool bags, tools, equipment. I couldn't figure out where it was going until I got the camera in the box truck, inside the box truck. I literally saw a client go in there and steal a $200 drill from my guys, and it wasn't even my equipment. It was the guy that he liked to bring his own tool set, and he took pride in that tool set, and it was just, he took it right out of there, and I really hated that. Jay Ramirez, hey, if you need help with something, ask your question, or if you want to do it privately, you can message on Facebook under Simply Investing. Well, I can't help you with that, Ramirez. You're gonna have to go to a dating channel. This is a finance channel. You want to make money? I'm here for you. If you want anything else, you gotta go someplace else. Um, Muslim Mystic, some companies pay for your moving. Do you have contracts with corporations that offer that service? It's pretty hard to get big corporations contracts because you have to operate nationwide, and they don't pay very well. And that's the first thing I found out, because my first contract was with Walmart, because it's in the area, it's local to my area, and the headquarters is right up the street from here. Well, not right up, but it's 20 miles north of here. But they don't pay, and sometimes a bad corporate contract can put you out of business. Now, I did network with a broker that handles that, so they get a little bit better rates. I'm getting paid a little bit more, but it's it's tough to say. Like, they're probably good once you get nationwide with a moving company, and I mean, you got to have all your licenses in place. You got to adhere to their insurance policies. So, like the FMSCA requires you to have 1 million in auto liability, but Walmart requires you to have 3 million, especially after that incident with that truck driver that hit Tracy Morgan. Um, and thank God everybody made it out alive there. But he like they require a lot from you, and like workers comp, that's up to 3x coverage, general liability and umbrella policy. It's really expensive to go with corporations because they too have to protect their assets. And not a lot of people know, when you own a moving company, they and they hire, and another business hires you, they are liable for anything that you do. So, like, according to a lawsuit, they'll skip over me if I'm small enough, and they'll go right to the big fish. So that's why they got to have that. Any advice for financing my money? One, get your credit score up, Ramirez. Make sure you have 6 months of savings, and trying to and then you can start really investing and getting into things. What would you look for in a digital marketer as a business owner? What would you expect, and how? This one's from Britt, so thank you. It is what I really look for in a business marketer is really just simplicity. This is just me personally, simplicity, and where we can make quick changes to advertising, because I'm not trying to have like a 6 months turnaround on a project that doesn't work. If I notice that, hey, what we're doing isn't generating the cash flow response that I need you to be able to quickly turn around and change that marketing in seconds, within a day, and change it up so something different is coming out, so we can change. That's probably one of the reasons why I attribute to any success I had in business or when I was working for someone. Anything I was doing, I could change and re-implement and redirect anytime. So if it wasn't working the way I thought, I can change it and start in a different direction, or start something new. Would you decide if you needed one? Um, Trying to find my target. I'd probably be a little bit out of your range, because like I'm nationwide. I cover nationwide, even though I cover 7 states. It's it's a hard thing to say, but you got to find what's right for you and what you value your services for, not what everyone else does. So if you believe that, hey, I'm giving a great service, then lead with that and let your price reflect that. If you come off as too discounty, then the real businesses won't do business with you. You'll just be doing business with people that don't respect your craft or your business. Um, Britt, again, do you do paid mentorships? Not necessarily. I do. Um, I have networks I go into, so those are paid. So there are like paid networking groups that you get to meet other people. Some people like 30 years ahead of you in business that you can learn from. Or like I have like a group of colleagues that we meet. We're kind of regional players in business. They're scattered. Some are in Kansas City, St. Louis, but we all meet together in all those cities and we discuss business. And we just kind of met naturally. But I did meet them through some of the paid like Masters of Business meetings. That's a good one. They're called Mob. They're kind of like in every state across the country. Uh, Britt, I know there's one in Fort Smith that does really well. There's one up here in Rogers. There's also, especially if you're doing like a digital service, doing one of those things. I know they don't cost much, like $100 a month, and you can meet some really good people. Muslim Mystic, excuse me. My former lieutenant had a moving company. He specialized in moving pianos. Yeah, that's a hard one, and I don't do piano moves because there's too many variables. A lot of damage can happen, and I'm really not willing to cover it. So I don't want to deal with it, but it's hard for insurance companies. So when I started, I did pianos, and then one got damaged because they didn't strap it properly, and my insurance company dropped me. And so piano moving is hard and is always in demand, especially higher end clients. And that's one of those things too. Like some people, like in this area, people are trying to move these 2 ton things for, or like really expensive, like $80,000 pianos for $400. It's like I'm not doing that for 400. If your thing costs 80,000, I need at least 8,000 to move it. And so I don't do pianos because in this area it doesn't work. Now in New York, a lot of our big clients now we outsource that to another moving company that specializes in pianos. But like when we're in Miami, New York City, LA, we do move the pianos, but we don't do it personally anymore. We subcontract it out, they load it up, and then another company will unload it and set it up for us in the new client's home. But it's a must for high-end clients because all high-end clients have pianos and they're willing to pay. But a lot of the middle class or upper middle class, especially in the Arkansas area, they're not willing to pay $3,000 or $4,000 to move piano. They expect you to break your back for like pennies, and so I just don't focus on it. And that's another thing. It's never be afraid to say no in your business. I know sometimes you think you really have to say yes, but say no. I'm not doing that. Like I said that to a client today. He wanted a move for half price. I said, no, I'm not doing that. And of course, their response was, no, it's the other movie company. Well, then, hey, that's a great deal. Go off to them and do it. Or I used to do that a lot in furniture. I'm not buying it unless you give me 50% off. Okay, hey, thanks for coming in. Just like and follow us on Facebook and see if there's something you like down the road. And a lot of times they say, well, I have a friend that owns a furniture store. It's like, well, then go to them. Why are you shopping here? Why don't you support your friend? But that's the thing that some people don't respect your service, so they're trying to get you to do it for below what you really need to, and that's not something you should do. At power washing, that's just funny. Muslim Mystic, I can see you starting a lawn care, snow removal service, power wash. Funny, I don't directly do lawn care, but I did put 200 grand into a colleague of mine's lawn care business and took 30% equity of it and helped him get to the next level and everything. And power washing business, I did really legitimately think of that. But snow removal, I'm not really trying to go any further than uh, maybe Nebraska. Not really trying to go where it snows. I'm trying to go south. Actually, now that my businesses are all established, I'm thinking about moving either to Dallas or to Florida because I do a lot of business in Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, West Palm Beach area, and then I want to go to and we do a lot of work in Dallas, Houston, and Austin. So I'm thinking about setting up a satellite office there and just kind of moving. Yeah, Dallas is pretty fun. I'm not going to argue. Once you get established in business, Dallas is my biggest moneymaker. Uh, we started. I started a construction company out there with about $750,000 investment, and my other colleague, we became partners on this. Put in about $1 million of his money, so we can cover everything. While the third owner was bringing about 52 million worth of contracts, and it's been a crazy ride since. It stands to make a lot of money in the next 2 years, and once we start paying out, we're going to make a lot of money. Hey, Jesse Sapita, welcome back. Yeah, I do have an Obsidian Crow card. I also have a JP Morgan Platinum card, so I got quite a bit. And for those you haven't known, also Mystic Muslim. Sorry, I missed your comment there. Window cleaning with organic solvents. That's actually a big business. I'm not really into window cleaning, but as all the buildings get more modern, they have way more glass. So if you can do that, being eco friendly, have at it. That is that is definitely something you should get into. Um, Loaded Lions got backpacks. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Jesse, but hey, thanks for a commenting there and coming back in. Um, Not sure if those are NFTs that you want me to look into, but I can certainly do that tomorrow. We're really talking about just business in general, questions about starting a business or things like that, or how I started my business. And I'm just kind of sitting here ranting about my last 5 years of hardship of getting to here, and some of the first 2 years of starting businesses and my process in that. But yeah, I can definitely see or window cleaning with organic solvents doing really good. Before COVID happened, I met someone that was actually really good at it and came up with his own organic solution. But then he disappeared, and I never heard of him again. I wish I could have got him to him. Oh, Loaded Lines is a CDC layer one NFTs. Okay. I haven't ever gotten to the NFT market. First off, was it when I first got into crypto? I didn't really I really had to study a lot about how to transfer and do everything right. And I was very wary of it at first, but some things are good, some things are standing a test of times. Cody is not on this stream right now, so maybe we can answer. I'll write that down and make sure we ask that question tomorrow in our crypto morning chat for you, Jesse. So every every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30. Definitely think it goes there. But yeah, you're right. Buying physical products deserves free NFTs. I think if you're paying attention to the NFTs, Michael Jordan is launching an NFT for his Jordans. So when you buy a Jordan, you'll get a little NFT that basically becomes the registry of the Jordan to prove its authenticity. And it's though I mean anything Jordan's going to have a ton of money. I don't know when it's coming out. All I know is it's going to be on the XRP Ledger network. So that's all I know for right now. That's all I know behind closed doors. Other than that, you kind of have to become uh, an investor into Ripple about it. But they talk about that stuff every monthly meeting that I have with them on their investor calls. So it's uh it's definitely something pretty cool. Um, it is kind of why I've been saying it for last year that Nike stock could go through the roof with it. I'm not a fan of Nike, but like I said, I don't have to be a fan. I just have to understand, and that's how we make money. Um, but back to like going into business. Muslim Mystic Buddy has a window cleaning service. He works 3 to 4 days, max $20 per window with no scaling ambition. And Mystic Muslim, hey, most people in small business don't want to go farther than what they have. It's tough. It's tough to expand, and it's tough to find people you trust to manage your business. Um, I don't. It's like you can't knock someone for what they want to do. I know I have a great handyman that I use just in case my my crews damage something in a local area. He doesn't want to do anything more than what he's doing. He's looking for steady business, but he's not trying to hire staff, hire everything. It's just him and his wife, and they do it, and they're great. He is a great handyman. He could fix anything from concrete to decks to wood to framing to doors to locks and everything to matching very specific paint. Um, and it's tough because he does a great job and he's cheap. Like he should be charging double for what his ability is. But unfortunately, he doesn't want to go more than what he's at. Yeah, that's true. Not in, it depends on your area. Every area's got a different price market. Abe Cross, some people don't want to take the risk, or maybe it's just complacency. And it's exactly when you trying to expand a business, it's a lot of risk because you're bringing on more people you don't know, and now you're entrusting them with part of your business, which is your livelihood, and that's very hard to overcome. Um, it's very hard to overcome that risk factor and complacency, and sometimes it's complacency. Like I know a lot of good electricians that could easily have a 30-40 million dollar electric business, electrician business, but they're happy with making $200,000 a year, and that's okay. And I'm going to tell you guys that's okay. It's okay to do that as long as you're doing things right. You're saving your money, you're protecting your assets in your business, and you're making a profit. It will it works. It works for you, but if you're in a negative net loss business, it's hard. It's hard to do it, and unfortunately for as humans as we are, we don't want to get things. I'm kind of in. I do look at charts, but I'm not right now. I kind of took off a lot of crypto because I really just want to talk about business. But we can talk about anything you guys want. Um, and yeah, and sometimes you shout out to Brit. Sometimes you can do something you love, and it turns out to be something very profitable and great. But it doesn't have to make $1 billion a year in revenue. It just has to be successful and have you have financial freedom. Surgic, welcome back. Look at ARPA. Great time to short right now. I opened a 10x short. Yeah, I'm not really big on shorting cryptos, but I do short stocks too. Cryptos is too wildly swinging for me, so I don't do that. But if you're comfortable with the risk level there, Surgic, definitely open up that short. Make sure you're liquid so you can cover if it goes in the opposite direction. But I can definitely look into that tomorrow. I got a lot of notes and stuff that we could look over. I'll shout that out in our morning chat tomorrow. Um, Mr. Muslim, hey, thank you. It's been amazing. Been amazing. Thank you so much for much needed talk on TikTok. Hey, you're welcome, buddy. That's what I'm here to try to do. I just try to help share the wealth of knowledge that I have to as many people as I can, and I try to answer questions as best I can for you. I'd be okay with making 100K a year. Got to start somewhere. Yeah, 100K years is nothing to shake at. Um, Everyone's level's different, but 100K years is successful. Most people that come to me with their already established business, and I'm trying to help them get to the next level. You'll be surprised. Some only do 20,000 in their first year. Some do like 50,000. Some only did like 5,000. So 100,000 is a good target to hit for your first year, especially if you're trying to aim that and paying that for yourself. That's a really good target. Um, and if you get anywhere close to it, you won. Um, Jesse, I'd be okay with 70K a year. Yeah, that also works, or 50K a year. If you can save your money and make it, uh, any salary can definitely work as long as you live. And thank you, Muslim Mystic. You definitely take care. Wish you the best in all your journeys. And hey, like and follow us and subscribe. Definitely could appreciate your support. Yeah, minimum wage. Although when I started, minimum wage was 4.65 when I just came out. But now I think it's like $11. But it is hard to live off $11 now, especially since after the rough last year of inflation. Um, and I wish you the best in there, Jesse. I know that you're in college right now. Hey, minimum wage jobs are for high schoolers and collegers, but if you can get an apprenticeship in a Fortune 500 company, it's going to do you wonders and could lead to a 60, 70, maybe even $100,000 a year job. And you can work that, pay off your college debt, and then be able to start your journey to financial freedom there. And yeah, rent's expensive, especially now if you live in a hot area. My goodness. I remember Dallas was pretty. It was a little expensive, but it was pretty cheap for Class A apartments. They were. somewhere around $1,200. Now the places I'm going to, it's like, oh my goodness, like we're moving people in. It's like, ooh, $2,800 for a 2 bedroom, 800 square foot apartment? No way. Oh, you live in a college town, Jesse? Yeah, the rent's gonna be expensive. You're just eating up the opportunity profit that's there. Oof, 2 bedroom and a one, 2K a month for a 1 bedroom. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I wish you the best. Best thing I can say is try to get a side hustle going, something that you don't have to do a lot of footwork for, but you can do in the comfort of your apartment and be able to get some extra cash going. Am I allowed to do a shameless plug into this? Hey, you certainly can. More than happy to, Britt. You can definitely go. Definitely need to learn how to message this, but I think I can do it this way. Oh no, it's not going on. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to message you through here. There we go. Oh nope, that doesn't work either. Guess that. Okay. Give me a second, Britt. I and see if we can go. But hey, if you guys want to have any more questions, I know it's getting a little late. I do apologize. I'm getting a little tired here myself because I've been up. I always get up at about 4 o'clock every morning, and I got to start my routine, especially workout. I find working out in the morning is good for me because it clears my head, gets me on my grogginess. I can focus on business. And but I always say everybody's got to do what they can. But if you're like me and you're not really in the best shape, then it's hard to do the workout and do a business. So, like I said in the beginning of the stream, you gotta get your wallet right first, your finances right, and then go. So, but thank you, Britt, for joining. Uh, Pleasure having you on. Thanks for all your support. Thank you guys for everything. It's been a long stream, hour and a half, a little longer than I anticipated. Um, but we do this every Wednesday live. If not Cody and me, definitely me. But you can always ask your questions. You can always ask anything you want. Join live or go on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch and message me there. But you can like and subscribe there too. We do morning crypto chat every Monday through Friday, and we do our What's in Your Portfolio on Sunday at 8:30. All of our morning stuff is at 8:30. You can join us live there, ask any questions, and we try to answer any questions as best we can. Our crypto mornings, though, if you want to shout out a stock or a crypto, get some knowledge, or have us do an in-depth analysis of it, we can definitely do it then for you. And you can get two people's views because I think Cody views crypto from a much different perspective than I do because of the gap in our experience, and I have a little bit more experience trading stocks and everything, so we kind of look at it differently. But with that said, hey guys, thank you for all the support. We almost got 4,000 likes in here, so really, really appreciate your support. Like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok. Try to get us to 10,000 followers on TikTok. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So any help there, just look for Simply Investing. Like I said, I'm going to try and get that logo in my TikTok there, but it's the blue chart with Simply Investing with the black arrow. Definitely is us, or you can go to anyone Sal the Investor and you'll find me right away. I have the links to everything. Once again, hey, thank you guys. Have a good night. Remember, respect the process. Don't invest in anything you don't understand, and don't invest more than what you can risk because that's the recipe for disaster. But thank you guys. I'm gonna call it a night. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8:30. Thank you for all your support, and I want you guys to have a wonderful day and a wonderful evening. So, and definitely tomorrow we're going to get back